Hey everyone, Reid Henrichs with Valor. In this video, we're going to talk about what's been happening in Virginia when it comes to the Second Amendment and what this could mean for the rest of the country. Let's go ahead and get started. If you've been paying attention the last few weeks, especially about the last month, what happened when Democrats took control of the state legislature, of the House and the state Senate, they promised to introduce a whole slew of laws against the Second Amendment. And yes, that is absolutely what they are. It's against the Second Amendment. And of course, what they'll do is they'll masquerade this as gun safety and common sense gun safety. Problem is, when you actually look at the numbers, there's nothing common sense about the bills that they're proposing. They want to get rid of semi-automatic rifles. They want to do away with magazines that hold more than X number of rounds, and other measures that will further infringe upon regular, everyday people's rights when it comes to keeping and possessing arms, keeping and bearing arms. What concerns me about this whole thing is the tone of the Attorney General. The Attorney General there has said that any legislation passed by the state and signed by the governor will be enforced, and strictly so, and that everybody will be expected to comply with this. Where was he on immigration when it came with federal law? No, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to enforce that. And in fact, many places in Virginia are not enforcing federal immigration law. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, he's perfectly fine with it. In response to his rhetoric and in response to these bills, there have been at this point well over 40 counties that have adopted protection for their citizens' Second Amendment rights. Sheriffs, district attorneys, all these places have put in safeguards for citizens' Second Amendment's rights. And in many cases, they have put their foot down and said, not only will we not have any money used to enforce any of these laws, but they will use every means available to them to protect their citizens' Second Amendment rights. This is a great thing. In addition, what you've had is you've had many militias being formed in some of these counties. Guys, this is stuff that should have been happening for years. This is stuff that should have been going on for decades, if not longer. And I'm not here to cast stones on them. I'm congratulating them on what they're finally doing. But if you're watching this video and you're somewhere maybe not in Virginia, maybe you're in a place like Illinois, or maybe you're in a place like Missouri, or maybe you're in a place like Oklahoma, or anywhere else in this country, this is something that you need to be watching carefully, and not just watching, but putting into action. Have you talked to the people in your community about this? Have you talked about forming up with people that you trust and doing drills and getting proficient in the use of firearms? I applaud the citizens of Virginia. I applaud the over 40 counties that have declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuary counties. I applaud the sheriffs who will use every means available to protect their citizens' rights. I applaud them. But eventually we're going to have to look at Virginia as a warning call to the rest of the country. This is the first southern state that has realistically been facing down this kind of legislation against regular rifles, against the most prolific rifles in the United States of America, against regular capacity magazines. Well, folks in Virginia, I am very proud of what's happened. In less than a month, you've had over half of your counties nearly declare themselves as protectors of the Second Amendment. And now that's going to be put to the test if this stuff passes out of the state legislature, which it's about a 50-50 chance that it will. So you got to prepare yourselves. You got to go out and train. You've got to go out and get better. And you got to educate yourself as to what our founders wanted as the individual right to keep and bear arms. They wanted a proficient citizenry. They wanted a proficient citizenry in the use of firearms. They wanted people to be able to assemble at a moment's notice, and they wanted people to be able to defend themselves against tyranny. And that's what the Attorney General of Virginia looks, smells, and sounds like. He looks, smells, and sounds like a tyrant. All of his minions are the same way, and you're going to have to be able to stand firm against people like that. As good as these Second Amendment sanctuary counties are, and they are very good, recognize this, that all they are is words. And so you've got to be able to get together with people. You've got to be able to go out and practice together. You've got to be able to go out and train together. For those of you that are wondering where to begin, I've got an entire playlist of drills that you can do with not only your pistol but your rifle as well. An entire playlist that you can just go down and go out to the range and do that. And if you want to look to further supplement yourself, you want to look to get better, come on out here. We can teach you how to do this stuff. We can watch you, see what we can polish up, and see what you need work on, and we can help you do just that. You know, the whole point of starting this place, it was never to get wealthy. It was never to make a bunch of money. It was to get an armed citizenry out there who's able to protect this nation. That was the whole point of this thing. And it was 5-6 years ago, and it's still the same thing now. And the biggest drive for me is going out and promoting the Second Amendment, being able to make sure that people understand it's part of their birthright as an American citizen. If you found the information in this video helpful, guys, you can support my work on Patreon. And if you want to come out and get some training for real, out in the physical world, and have somebody really polish your technique up and get better, come on out to Valor Ridge and we can help you with that. This is Reid Henrichs of Valor Ridge reminding you, the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others.